Let's bring in now former Trump White House trade advisor and author of Taking Back Trump's America, Peter Navarro. Peter, that's his book right there. That's that book. Peter, Chinese government, they bust up this police, I don't know, ring, fake police ring here in New York. A second one now. They say there may be dozens more in America. Chinese must know that they had we have a weak leader here and they get away with it.
Yeah, amen to that, Eric. One of the most surreal days I ever spent was in the Big Apple with a Chinese dissident, and he had 3 heavily armed guards with us at all time, plus a car that was armored up. And I'm thinking to myself, boy, that's some significant paranoia. And then we read stuff like this, and it just turns your stomach to think that Biden puts up with it. I'm really glad you played the clips for Christopher Wray, because that guy belongs in a Chinese prison. Let's remember, he's the head of the FBI, and he's the guy who determines who gets investigated, how far those investigations go. And as far as I can see, they spend a whole lot more time on Trump people than they do on the Chinese Communist Party and their spies. The other thing, Eric, that's worth pointing out here is this police station stuff is a tip of the iceberg. I was at the University of California for 25 years, and I saw all over the university environments what they would do. It would be flooded with Communist Chinese Party member sons and daughters, right, on the campuses. And they'd have their own cops on campus to make sure that those kids don't stray into Western ways. And a big part of the reason why we have so many Chinese students, particularly in our sciences, is for them to gather intel, intellectual property. It's called the 1,000 grains of sand approach. And we don't do anything about it. What frustrates me is I've been writing about this stuff since 2006 in the coming China wars, and all I get is rhetoric. Don't forget, Eric, there's also the money pot, honey pot thing. The guy you showed at the fundraisers for Schumer and Adams and all of that, that's the money pot. But the honey pots are like Eric Swalwell, the guy who was on the committee trying to get Trump. He was caught with a Chinese spy as one of his mistresses. And of course, Hunter Biden is the daily double, because he's both a money pot and honey pot, taking money and whatever kind of hookers in China, communist China, to peddle his influence there. So I'm really glad you're doing this story, Eric. But it's time for action. Can you hear me, Joe Biden? Can you hear me, Chris Wray? Can you hear me, Congress?
What do they have, though? What do they have, Peter? What do they have? You make a good point. Now, they fly a spy balloon across the country. Joe does nothing. He said, don't worry, we got this thing covered. We've been following it. BS. Now we know that they got important information about some of our most sensitive military and other installations. Okay, the point of the monologue prior was all these things that they call me a conspiracy theorist for and about, and you and others on the right all end up turning out to be actual Chinese information gathering, spying on us, and worse, all of them. It's like, you know, as we point out, there's a shortage right now. There's a supply chain shortage on conspiracy theories because they turn out to be true.
Yeah, information, Eric, is ammunition for the Chinese. They're using it to fight an economic war against the United States by stealing our intellectual property, and that leads to stealing of our factories. They're just infecting our culture with the way they infiltrate our social media. And something's got to give on this. I mean, we've got a committee now, the House of Representatives. They're supposed to do a deep dive on communist China and all the different ways they're getting at us. But again, I am so friggin' sick of the talk without the walk. I mean, there's tangible things that we can do. I mean, when I was in the White House, we had a whole laundry list of stuff we could do, but a lot of times, like Chris Wray would get in the way, Bill Barr would get in the way. These are Republicans that should be pulling the oar in the same direction in this country, but there's just too many compromises.
Let me push you back in here. There were Republicans maybe Republicans in name only. Chris Wray, really?
Yes,
Bill Barr.
yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
No friend of
Yes,
Trump's.
exactly.
I wouldn't really. Let's put it this way: they may be Republican, but they're certainly not conservative, and they don't have the best interest in the country.
When I was in the Trump administration, and that I'll tell you, there's a good story about Bill Barr. When Hong Kong fell, I had a chance. I wrote an executive order to shut down the clearinghouses in Hong Kong, which would have shut off the money laundry to the mainland of U.S. capital funds to the mainland. It would have been a really solid statement and might have made a difference on Hong Kong. Bill Barr was one of the guys who stopped that. Bill Barr.
Why? Why? What excuse?
Why?
You want to
keep
stop
asking
money
yourself that
laundering?
question.
What? Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the answer is multifaceted here. A lot of times these people are compromised, but a lot of problem is some of these people might be good intentioned, but they're naive. They don't believe that China is as evil as you and I know it to be. I mean, look, again, you and I have been in this trench for years now. We see all of the evil things that China is doing, whether it's buying up our farmland or our pork supply, flying spy balloons, infiltrating our universities, stealing intellectual property, and wreaking havoc with this world. And by the way, getting off the U.S. dollar with Brazil, Saudi Arabia, and Russia. I mean, they are here for one mission here. They take us without firing a shot. That's Sun Tzu, the art of war. That's the highest strategy, and they are on their way to doing it unless we act, Eric.
All those things you say, all those things they do it. The spy balloon, the stealing our intellectual property, infiltrating our universities and going to take that information and use it against us when they go back to China. Another one I talk about all the time, Peter. Our businesses invite Chinese leaders over to show them their plants and their manufacturing plants, and they're wearing sticky things on the bottom of their shoes to find out what type of polymers and what type of metals we're using in our manufacturing process. They take it back over there and they undercut us on price. It's insane. They're not friends of ours. They got something on the Bidens. And we don't know, but someday we're going to find out. We're not conspiracy theorists, folks. There's something going on. There's way too much smoke for there to be no fire. Peter, always good having you on. Appreciate you, my friend.
Good to
Thank
see
you,
you,
Peter
brother.
Navarro.